Hey friends, this is Michael Kingswood, and we're live again for the daily Kickstarter campaign updates. This will be pretty brief because, as usual, the last couple days, not a lot of movement going on. It's mid-campaign doldrums, and as you can see, we are where we were yesterday. Hey, look at that. Same spot. 604, 241% of the initial goal. Totally satisfied, smashing success, as I've said before. But, obviously we have 13 more days, just under 2 weeks left in the campaign. Always want to get more traction, which is part of the reason why we do these streams. Also because I'm trying to get in the habit of these streams because I think this is going to be the way forward. This is the way forward in the future because I want to do more of a presence in the various video platforms as part of my overall marketing scheme, plan, what have you. But since there's not a whole lot going on the campaign, I guess what should I talk to you about today? So did I tell you about? Oh yeah, so I told you yesterday that I went. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, I was leaving. I got the first formal professional training thing with Freya, who is my pooch, who is right off screen. Hey, Freya. Nah, she doesn't want to come in. Interesting little. It's funny how you learn stuff from experts, and when they tell it to you, you're like, duh. That's the most obvious thing in the world. How have I never thought of that before? And this is one of those things. So we were talking about, yesterday about how to do, controlling the dog and the basics controlling the dog. And as you know, I do, ride share stuff. And Freya, a lot of times, is my co-pilot because up until now, she hates to let me out of her sight. And I like having her around too. And the riders like having her around. But, she has a tendency to think she's still a lap dog, even though she's 38 pounds and getting to be a bit big. So she will walk across and try to stand on my lap. I'm like, damn it, dog, I can't see anything. And I have to make her sit, and then she's got her head in front of my face and lower the window, and stick her head out, and for all of it, it's good, but it's not good for more than a minute or so, because you really don't want to crash the car while you're driving, right? So to scoot her back over into her seat. And then riders will get in. And the vast majority of riders love that she's there. Like, oh, a puppy dog is so great. And, there's in the last 2.5 months, there's been like 3 people who've had any issues of them. And the last one, the issue wasn't the dog. The issue was me. Oh, I'll tell that story in a second. Wasn't really the last one. The issue wasn't really the dog. Anyway, where was I going with this? So a lot of times she loves meeting new people now. She's great with that. But she will want to go into the back seat and hang out with the riders, which the vast majority of them are cool with that. But I don't want her to do that until they say that they're cool with it. And so that, she's not causing a disturbance or pissing people off. Because, you want customer service to be good. And you don't want to, make people uncomfortable or anything like that. I mean, yeah, right? It was a common sense thing. So, I have had to, wrestle her to keep her in the passenger seat until they let her way back. And consequently, I got a high VA disability rating. Don't get me started on the VA disability scale because that whole system is all jacked up. But I've got a high rating, and one of the things is my shoulder. Because when I was in the Navy, I was doing overhead presses, and I threw my shoulder out, and I did physical therapy and all this stuff, but I still have an impingement, and it limits my range of motion on this right shoulder pretty much all the time, but especially if the impingement's flaring up. It's like, oh, can't move it very much at all. But the last month, just from keeping her where she needs to be, my shoulder is like really hurting. And so that's annoying. And plus, once she goes back and then the rider leaves, you gotta get back her up front because she, you don't want her in the back seat when the rider gets in. So I bring treats and stuff to coax her up, and sometimes I just have to wrestle her up front because, and so this is it's a problem, but it's not something I'd really thought of. It's just something I've been dealing with. But I was talking to the professional trainer about it, and he was like, "Well, how does she ride in the car?" And I was like, "Well, to open the car door and hop up," and she knows to hop up. He's like, "Oh, you trained her to do that?" Well, yeah, but he's like, "But she hops in the back and does all this other stuff." Yeah, well, here's what you do. And he made a loop of the leash at the halfway point and closed the door on it. Now all of a sudden she's got 2.5, 3 feet of leash, and she can't get out of her seat, jump into the back, or anything. It's this. And so she's confined to that seat, and she's learning that's her place because the leash is there. And it's something I never, ever would have thought of. Duh, close the leash in the door. And but my first thought was, how is that gonna work with people trying to get in the back seat? And I opened the back door, and it doesn't screw it up at all. It's like, duh. You got this tool, and you never even think about it. But this guy who's been working with dogs his entire professional life, is second nature to him. And I was flabbergasted. It's something that I pride myself in being a fairly intelligent guy. I'm a mechanical engineer, nuclear engineer for the submarine force. And, I'm not a dummy, but it's just like the most simple thing that I never even thought of before. And it's natural that I wouldn't have, but it's just funny. So I took her after we got up early. I hate getting up early. When I got out of the Navy, I promised no more early mornings to myself. Then I was program manager and had early mornings, but now I'm not program manager anymore. So since I left that stupid job, I've been getting up late, driving, riding, having fun. But since Freya's been around, she's got to go for her early morning walk. So now I just go for the early morning walk and then drive and start the day early. So we were out driving, and then around 9:30 finished up and went to a dog park downtown in Little Italy here in San Diego, which I had not been to before. And talking to a girl there who has her dogs, and she was talking about a similar issue with her dog and riding in the car, and I relayed that thing to her from the trainer, and she's like, duh, I never think of it. So clearly I'm not the only dummy. This very nice lady hadn't thought of it either. But still, it's funny how that works. So I guess that's the fun story for today for this stream. The other story, the third person who had an issue with Freya, but not because of Freya. I guess I'll get to in the next one, because it was well, screw it. I'll just tell it now. It was the most hostile experience. So I've been doing the rideshare thing for 4 or 5 years now. I started it as a lark in 2016. Oh, geez, 6 years now. As 2016. Before I got out of the Navy, in 2017, as I was getting out of the Navy, just for some extra bucks. But then I let it go until the fall of 2020, when we lost the contract that I was managing in my first company when I got out of the Navy, and there was no other contract they could move me to, except unless I was going to move to Connecticut, and I can't move to Connecticut because family in San Diego, and also if I'm leaving California, I'm going to a place with less tyranny. Right? Let me phrase that. When I leave California, I'm going to a place with less tyranny. California's, and rather Connecticut's not that. So anyway, I drove almost full time for a few weeks there in November, December as I was finding a new job, the job that I left in September of last year when we had a mutual hatred thing. And, you know, it is what it is. And then I started back up driving this last year in March with, because it struck me that I wasn't really liking the new company, and it struck me that it was a good thing to make extra money so you can pay the last few things off so you can be free to pursue what you want to do, which for me was to try to make this writing thing an actual business and make a living from. So I really hit it hard starting in March, and then really in July when I bought a Prius just for ride sharing, because it makes total sense, the better gas mileage. And I was putting 4,000 miles a month on my personal car, which, you do the math on that, that doesn't work. But of a business automobile that is only for business, all that mileage is deductible. Don't have to do any kind of weird split between personal and business. And also it's a second car, and my daughter's going to be 16 in 2 years. So, hey, here's a junker Prius that I ran into the ground, but you can have it for your daughter-mobile. Hey, that works too, right? So a lot of good reasons to get that thing. And little did I know that, 3 months later, the used car market was going to skyrocket, so it's probably worth more now than I paid for it, which is great. But anyway, so long story short, all of last year, especially the second half of last year, I was pretty much doing this full time. I was doing basically two full-time jobs from June until September, and then one plus writing since then. So in all that time, this was the single most hostile experience I've had with a writer ever. So this group of people got in, picked them up outside the Naval Hospital. Navy guys and their girl, and maybe the girl was a Navy girl too, I don't know. All happened to be black folks. Doesn't matter that they were, but it's just what it was. So 4 of them, and I have Freya. So 1 guy gets in the passenger seat, 3 in the back, 2 guys and a girl. The girl's with one of the guys' girlfriend or something. And so Freya is in the front seat. She's kind of in my lap, lying down. The guy in front is petting her, having fun with her. And the dude behind me is giving advice to the guy next to me about how to cheat on his girlfriend, and do it in such a way that she won't find out, and make sure that the girls on the side know that they're on the side so they won't tell her, because if she finds out, she'd be all pissed off. And I'm like, what? So at some point I interject, hey man, how about just be loyal to your girl? And at that point, the girl in the back pops up like, yeah, that's a good thing. And the guy caddy corner to the right, it's like, yeah, it's a good thing too. And the guy behind me is like, what? And the girl's like, well, he loves her. And it's like, oh, he loves her. Well, that's fine. I didn't know that. And about 5 minutes later, dude starts sniping at me like, what's with your dog? Do you know I'm allergic? Well, don't get in the car if you're allergic, dude. And what about a seatbelt for your dog? Is it legal for you to drive with the dog like that? I'm like, does Lyft let you do that? Yes, I've checked the rules. I can have my dog. And just sniping. And eventually I'm like, dude, what are you being all hostile for? And holy cow, the girl starts going off. How dare you call a black man hostile? You're the most racist person ever. You're discriminatory. All right, I was dealing with it for a minute or two, and then it's like, all right, we're clear. We're bought. And this woman's going full stereotypical, insane, a woman with a over-exaggerated notion of how valuable she is, and talking about how she was giving me the benefit of the doubt and she was doing me a favor by not complaining about the dog. And so, well, you know what, honey? Anyway, eventually they got out, and she's screaming the whole time about how I'm discriminatory. I'm like, what the? Just go away. And I left them a bad customer review and never heard from them since. But it's the most hostile experience ever. Now, ostensibly, dude used it as an excuse because it was the dog, but really his conscience was pricked, right? Because he was giving this guy advice on how to be wicked, and I wasn't meaning to call him out on it per se, but I basically called him out. It's like, hey, don't be wicked to his buddy, and then I guess not really a man. He couldn't come up and just say, hey, dude, I got a problem with what you said. He's doing this passive-aggressive sniping, and then it led to the whole thing. It was really just a jacked-up situation. I mean, and then his girlfriend, I don't know if she was with him or with the other guy, went full stereotype, and it was like a caricature of just stupidity. I hope the young dude next to me didn't pay attention to the guy behind me and actually was true to his girl, but who knows? It is what it is. That has nothing to do with the Kickstarter campaign, but stream of consciousness. It is what it is. The campaign, of course, as we talked about, continues to go well, and the rest of the podcast is continuing to go well. As you know, we put out last weekend's Story Saturday was Poppers, a modern mystery from Stories from the Great Challenge. Case paperback version right here. Available in all retailers, and especially from ssnstorytelling.com. This week, on Saturday, will be The Case of the Missing Rocker, which is another mystery, but it's a science fiction world, near future. So it's mostly mystery. There's like a very few science fiction elements to it. It's primarily a detective mystery. A couple of police detectives trying to find a missing rock and roll guy. So, Story Saturday, as always, that'll be there. But do go and back the Kickstarter. You can see the shortened link beneath my chin, right beneath my beard, right here. The campaign season over on Kickstarter. Go to the website michaelkingswood.com, which is above my head because it can be. There you can sign up for my mailing list so you know everything I'm doing all the time. And you can also become a member of the website where you'll get the satisfaction of giving small monthly contributions to this ongoing writing effort and offset some of the costs. And I will, of course, give special considerations to website members, such as discounts at the store and occasional special bonus stories for the memberships. I used to have this tiered thing where I'd promise X at this level, and X at this level, and X at this level, and I determined, and a couple of people taking it, and I ended up wiping the whole thing out because it became just more crap to manage that I don't want to manage. So if you like what I'm doing, you like my books, and you like this podcast, and you like these live streams, you like the podcasts that I do, go to the website. And you want to contribute just a few bucks a month, go to the website, become a member. I will give more bennies as I figure them out. If you don't, then don't. Just buy the books, or just don't buy the books. Back the Kickstarter campaign, or don't back the Kickstarter campaign. Completely up to you. But do tell everybody about how cool we are here and all the good stuff we're doing. And come back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific time. We'll do another live stream update for the campaign. Hopefully there will be more good things to talk about what's going on there. If not, we'll talk about something else. And come back on Saturday for Story Saturday. And that'll be a good time. Okay, I think that's it for the day. Good talking to you. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, don't do anything I wouldn't do.